Hey Glenda, hope you're doing well. Just want to go through your analysis with you. This is the listing as when you bought it. You see it's right here, it's 1,500 square feet. Um, and then the tax record right here again, but it also has it listed at 1,500 square feet. So that becomes our multiplier as we kind of come up with a price per square foot and what we think we can get. Um, So here is our first comparable sales. This is actually going by the rules, so to speak, not going more than 6 months back, houses within the same, within 200 square feet of that house that you have. And if we look right here, you'll see that as I hover over, this one sold for $63 a square foot. Don't worry about that one. This one 105, 113, 118, and 119. We can drop these two as outliers that were not in good enough condition, but these are legitimate. Now your house is better, but I guess when I say legitimate, what I mean is an appraiser is still going to try to use those. So we should be able to exceed these because of the condition, but after $120 a square foot, we're leaning really heavy on the appraiser to make adjustments, which they don't like to do. They like to stick with just the sale and not, give $10,000, $15,000 for various upgrades. So now going back, what I did here is I took out all the square footage requirements and the time requirements. So I did go back like 2 years. And what you'll see is that our neighborhood, even with these really large houses at 2,500 square feet, this is James's house, can sell for up to 130 a square foot. And that's significant because these houses are bigger. So these houses are in better shape, more comparable shape to yours, but they don't count as comparables, if that makes sense. So 122, still scrolling through, 121, again, much larger houses, 124. So that's kind of where I came up with that number I threw out there. You can sell for about 125 a square foot fixed up in Davidson County. I mean in Bluefields, I'm sorry. So, and then finally what I did is I just go to the withdrawns and actives. Actives I skipped over because there's no real competition right now. There was one that just came under contract. It's going to sell almost exactly per square foot at what I just sold the last one, so it's not going to change comparables. I got a contract in 24 hours right at list. So normally I don't know what the contract price is, but the agent told me. So it was a comparable, but it's not going to be in your favor. It's not going to help you get more money because it needed tons of updates. So, but what you need to see here is that when we look at the houses that have tried to sell but have failed, these are withdrawns. They've failed to sell at 142, 118 on this Bluefield Square. Just ignore that one. It is Bluefields, I guess, but it's just a whole different thing. And then 142. Now this guy is just out of his mind, so we're not going to worry about that too much. And this one I consider very seriously, and we'll look at it real quickly. So this one I have shown, I don't know how many times. Great little house in great condition. Everything update-wise that needed to be done without building on was done. So showed really well. The reason I bring this one up is that, and the reason I consider it a serious comp is because it's really close to the same square footage. It actually provides almost the same amenities exactly, other than the fact it's just 2 stories. Some people would balk at that. What I'm banking on is that because they did get a contract, they did not get the house to appraise. I'm banking on the lack of interest was because of the busy road, and that had everything come together right, 140 was reasonable. One thing just to bring up is, I know we talked about kitchen updates. This kitchen was very, very nice. Let me see. Oh wow, can't believe I didn't have pictures of the kitchen because that was really oh, here you go. It's kind of see it. Okay, so the kitchen was really, really nice. So that's kind of what we have on the market. Now what I'm going to do is just take you through the rest of the numbers. Okay, so you don't see me do the math here, but I've crunched the numbers on a separate sheet of paper and put them into this analysis. But this is your what reality is trying to tell us. And reality says that your house is worth 113 to 120 a square foot. That is the first part of this analysis. Now we can then speculate and say, well, this house wasn't as in good a shape, and that's why, and that's important, and it's part of it. We need to speculate. We need to make those adjustments in our mind because those represent value to the buyer, not necessarily value to the appraiser, unfortunately, but that, anybody can go into an old house and see they're going to have to spend $20,000 and is willing to buy a nicer house where that work's already been done and pay more for it. So position your house among the three comparables. In other words, if I looked at it, I would say your house would easily be at the top of that on the reality basis of the analysis. So it would be 120 square foot, which would put your house at $180,000. If we then ignore that, that's the wrong slide. Okay, so then we go into fantasy land, and this is where we start using our common sense to say what are things worth, and we see the inventory is really sparse, particularly in Bluefields, and we're not going to worry too much about a value analysis because we're assuming, meaning what if someone's trying to get the most for their money. You're just not going to be able to compete with someone trying to get the most for their money because the price per square foot in our neighborhood is just too much. So we should be able to exceed comparable sales, and since we know in the past much larger homes have sold for as much as 130 a foot, the rule of inversion is that smaller homes should sell for even more. As you could see with those active listings, I mean, they were banking on, or the active ones that were withdrawn, they were banking on the fact that since their homes are a little bit smaller, they should be able to at least get what James got over there, at about 130. They should be able to get more. So when I'm looking at the three withdrawns, I think that the reason those haven't sold at the 140 a square foot is the lack of value for the updates provided. That's the one on Bluefields near the end with the giant side yard. On the Donaldson Pike side, he hasn't done anything to really update that house, and yet he's wanting to make tons of appreciation on it, and it's just not there. Both of those were located on a busy street. And then the third one is somewhat encouraging in that they got a contract at that price. In other words, people were willing to pay it, but the appraisal came in too low. So all those things are kind of hitting you, which means we could be in for a bumpy ride. But like I said, when we met, I'm not going to worry about the appraisal too much. I'm just glad someone was willing to pay it. So if we could get to $140 a square foot, which hasn't been done, it was done a long time ago on a large house, and it was actually Laura Tucker's house, but that was before the bust. But if we could get back to 140 a square foot, that would bring you to a marketing price of $210. Now I knew you guys wanted to be over that, but without any more finished square footage, that multiplier at 1,500 square feet just really is, it makes it really tough. So that would be my suggested list price. We could even go above that a little bit, but I think realistically we need to say that we're going to be selling between 200 and 210 a square foot. I mean 200 and 210 total, and then you back out your 8% and soft costs will get you to what you'll be walking away from. So let me do that real quick. Didn't have that one ready. You'd be walking away with $193,000 if you sold at 210. So take about 10 grand off that if you sold at 200. So give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. I know this isn't where you wanted to be. I do think that this could be the house that gets us back up to 140 a square foot. It's a special case, and I do have people who already want to see it, and it could just blow my mind, and I'll be completely wrong. But so I'm willing, because of where it is and because it's you guys, to list even higher if you guys choose to. I think in the long run this will sell. Just wanted to set realistic expectations. So hope that helps. I'll talk to you soon.